Hello and welcome back. For this video, I'm going to be walking you through dividing with a 2-digit divisor and what that's going to look like. So at the top, I've already gone ahead and rewritten our steps for division just as a reminder. We divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. That's how the quotient is found. So when I have a 2-digit divisor, like 52 for instance, where it's not going to be on my multiplication chart and I'm not going to know the multiples of 52 off the top of my head, what I like to do is pull that number off to the side and make ourselves a multiplication chart. So 1 times 52 is 52. 2 times 52, or if we add another 52 here, 2 plus 2 is 4, and 5 plus 5 is 10. Then I can do times 3 would be 156 times 4, add 2, that's going to be 8, add 5, that's going to be a 0, carry the 1, so 208. Let's add another 52, 0, carry the 1. Plus 5 would make this 6, and bring down my 2, so 260, 6, 2 will be 11, so 312. And if I look over here, the reason why I have not stopped is because I know 52 cannot fit into 4. I know 52 cannot fit into 48 because that's too small. They're smaller than this divisor. So I know my first number I'm going to be looking at is 489, and I'm not high enough over here yet. So I'm going to keep going. Just for 7, 364, so I'm going to keep going because I'm not quite done yet. 8, 6 plus 5 is 11, carry the 1, that's 416, I'm close. I'm going to do 9 over here. 9, 2 is going to be 8, 5 would be 6, and then keep that 4. I'm close, but I want to see what happens when I go to 10. So that's too big of a number. So I know I'm going to be able to use 9. Because 468 is smaller. So I like to say, if I'm looking for the number 489 and I want to know what number could divide into that, I like to find the number, or the first number that's bigger than that number, which would be 520. So then I would go back 1 and say that 52 times 9 is 468. So that was my divide, then multiply, which puts me at subtract. Okay, and if that was confusing, let me re-explain one more time. So for 52, I know that 52 times 9 is 468, and I know that 52 times 10 is 520, which is too big. So I'm going to go back to 9 and say that 52 can fit into 489 9 times. And then 52 times 9, or multiplied, is 468. So that number goes down here. Then I'm going to go ahead and subtract. 9 minus 8 is 1. 8 minus 6 is 2. And 4 minus 4 is 0. Now this is a really good time to check yourself. When you subtract, if this number is bigger than your divisor or the number on the outside over here, then you've done something wrong, because it should always be smaller, and 21 is smaller than 52, so I know I'm okay, which brings me to my final step of bring down. So I'm going to bring down, and I get 210. So what I'm going to do now is the exact same process. I'm going to go back over to my multiplication chart that I created. I'm going to find the first number that's bigger than 210. The first one I see that's bigger is 260, so I'm going to go back 1 to 208, which is going to fit because that's a little bit smaller, so I'm going to put my 4 and say that 52 fits into 210 4 times, because 52 times 4 is 208. Let me subtract. So this would become a 10, this would become a 0. 10 minus 8 is 2, 0, and then 0. So I have 2 left. Now, I don't have any numbers up top left for me to bring down, which means that this 2 becomes my remainder. And in a little while, we will move on to using decimals, and we won't stop here. We will figure out what our final answer is. But for right now, this is a good stopping point. So we will have our final answer of 94. Oh, my pencil is not sharp. 94 remainder 2. And remember, we call this my quotient. This is my quotient. Okay. Hopefully that wasn't too confusing, but if it was, it's okay. We're going to do 2 more examples. So we will start with our next one. So my next one, I have 18, which again is not going to be on my multiplication chart. So I'm going to want to pull that number off to the side, and I'm going to make myself a little multiplication chart. So 18 times 1 is 18. 18 times 2, or 18 plus 18. 8 plus 8 would be 6, carry the 1, so I get 36. Then I'm going to do another one. Let's just say I really don't remember what this is, and I don't feel like adding. I can say 18 times 3 off to the side. 3 times 8 is 24. 3 plus 2 is 5. So I know the next one's going to be 54. And then let's just say I don't want to skip count. That's too hard for me. Okay, that's fine. We can just do it again. Now we'll do it times 4. 8 times 4 is 32. 2 goes down, 3 goes up. 4 times 1 plus 3 is 7. So the next one would be 72. Okay, let's stop for a second and just see what we need to figure out over here before we keep going and making a long list when we don't need to. Can 18 fit into 4? Well, no, because 4 is less than or smaller than 18, so that's not going to work. I'm going to put a 0 up top. Then I'm going to go, can 18 fit into 42? Well, yeah, 18 can fit into 42 because 42 is greater than 18. Let's figure out how many times. So I'm going to go back over to my multiplication chart. I want to find the first number that's bigger than 42. The first one I see that's bigger is 54, so I'm going to go back 1 to 36. 36 is definitely smaller than 42, so I know that 18 can fit in 2 times. Because 18 times 2, and remember, you can even write yourself a little multiplication sign to remember that we multiply next. 18 times 2 was 36, and then we subtract. Now, I can't take 6 away from 2, so I'm going to have to borrow. 12 minus 6 is 6, and 3 minus 3 is 0. So now I have 6, and I bring down my 3, so I actually end up with 63. The first thing I do is I find the number that's going to be bigger than 63, which I see is 72. So I go back 1. 54 is definitely smaller, so that means that 18 fits into it 3 times, because 18 times 3 is 54. And same thing as last time, I'm not going to be able to do that subtraction, so I'm going to have to regroup. This becomes a 5, that becomes a 13. 13 minus 4 is 9, and 5 minus 5 is 0. Once again, I can use this chance to check myself. 9 is less than 18, so I know I'm doing it right. And I'm not quite finished yet because I have one more number to bring all the way down. So now I have 96. But going back over to my multiplication chart here, it only goes up to 72. So I'm going to need to keep going because I don't really know yet how many times 18 is going to fit into 96. So we're going to go ahead and do now 18 times 5. 18 times 5. So 5 times 8 is 40. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 4 is 9, so that's 90. But that's not bigger yet, and we always want to find the next biggest number. And this one would just be really easy to add because we have 90 here. So we're going to go ahead and do 8, and then 9 plus 1 is 10. So I have 108, which is bigger than 96. So same thing as before, 108 is too big. We go back to 90. 90 is small enough, so we're going to circle that 5. I know that 18 fits into 96 5 times because 18 times 5 is 90. Then I'm going to go ahead and subtract. And when I do the subtraction, I'm going to get a remainder of 6. So my final answer, or my quotient for this problem, is going to be 235 remainder 6. Okay, last one. I have 26 as my divisor. Once again, I'm just not really figuring this out as I go, so I'm going to go ahead and pull off to the side and make myself a multiplication chart. 1 times 26 is 26. Then I'm going to do 2. And I'm going to go ahead and multiply because for Ms. Clark it's a little bit easier just to do the multiplication really fast. But if that is something that you're struggling with and you don't want to do it this way, you can also just add and just do repeated addition, as long as you're making sure you're keeping track of your numbers. And you don't even have to erase, you can just keep going. So 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7, so I'm at 78. Let's do 4. 26 times 4. 4 times 6 is 24, so 4 goes down, 2 goes up. That's 10, so I'm at 104. Let's do 5, and then we'll double check our question and see if we need to keep going. 26 times 5, that would be 30. 10 plus 1 is 130. So now I'm at 130. Let's go ahead and double check our question. I know that 26 does not fit into 8, so I'm going to put a 0 up top. And then I know that 26 fits into 89. Let's see. How many times? Well, the first number I see that's bigger than 89 is 104. So I'm going to go back 1. 78 is smaller, so I'm going to say that 26 fits into 89 3 times. Because 26 times 3 is 78. Now let's subtract. We get 11. After I divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. So now I'm at 117. So let's find a number that is bigger than that. The first number I see is 130, so I'm going to go back 1. 104 is smaller, so I'm going to go ahead and circle 4. I know that 26 fits into 117 4 times because 26 times 4 is 104. Then I subtract. 7 minus 4 is 3. 1 minus 0 is 1. And 1 minus 1 is 0. So now I'm at 13. Last thing I need to do is bring down this 4. Now I'm at 134. And now I see, oh, this isn't high enough, so I'm just going to add one more. And because this is 130, that's going to be easy for me to add. 6 plus 0 is 6. And 2 plus 3 is 5. Bring down my 1. I have 156, which is going to be too big. So I'm going to go back to 5. And 26 times 5 was 130, which is smaller. So 4 minus 0 is 4, and then the rest are 0. This becomes my remainder. So my final answer is 345, remainder 4. That is my quotient, or my final answer. I hope this makes sense, and I hope it helped, but if it didn't, like I always say, you can go and watch either Khan Academy videos or Math with Mr. J, either one, if you don't feel like my explanation is helping you, or if you don't like how I am teaching you to do these steps. They have some different methods for it that can help you with this. But either way, the best way for you to understand this is for you to just pick some random numbers. You can pick anything between, I would say, anything between 10 and 99 as your divisor, and any number between 1,000 and 999,000 for you to divide with. Any numbers in between here are really good for you to practice with, because that's what you're doing in 5th grade level, is 2-digit divisor by a 4-digit dividend. Okay, so if you want to practice, just pick some random numbers and do some practice. That is the best way for yourself to understand division. All right, I hope this helps. Have a good day.